We are finally on to the last type of love. But before I get into that, I want to say one thing about the Mercury foundation of the Jupiter love. The Mercury foundation for charity, that gives the people the ability to have charity, is the love of God for everybody. It's recognizing everyone is an aspect of God. Everyone deserves the love of God. Everyone deserves a chance. Everyone deserves abundance. Everyone deserves charity. And it's only through recognizing that a person will be charitable. Okay, otherwise they go, mine, I gotta have it me. No. You or them, what's the difference? God is spending the money, right? That's another last important point of this Mercury. Mercury being the support of abundant love, okay, of the charitable love. All right, so now the topic, Saturn love. Saturn love is, I keep saying it, love them and leave them, but it's not that. It's love them and leave them. I have to put the right tone onto it. But I hear it in that other way so often. My clients love to say it. I'm going to love them and leave them. You know, it's like, no, it's not that kind of love. That's not love. That's like, get this thing away from me. It's love them and leave them. This is a beautiful, sacred type of love. It's no less valuable, it's no less beautiful than any of the other types of love. And it comes from the recognition that there is nothing here of value anymore. There's nothing useful here. Therefore, there's only one useful thing, and therefore it's love. And that is to leave. When the useful thing is to leave, that's love them and leave them. This is how every relationship ends. Every relationship has its point where it's no longer useful. Love them and leave them. My spouse of 51 years died. It's no longer useful for them to be here. I miss him so much, but it's no longer useful for him, for me, for him to be in my life. So he's gone. Okay? Maybe that's how we love them and leave them. Or maybe we just love them and leave them because after 1 year, there was nothing there that was useful anymore. Or 2 years or 10 years, however many years. And then we have to recognize the only love possible at that point is to leave them. Or for them to leave us. Okay? After that leaving happens, something beautiful happens. First, we have to mourn that, because it is a lost love. It's sad when something that was useful to us, that we loved, is no longer useful. It's a rite of passage. It's not useful because you're growing in different directions. There's a beautiful reason why it's not useful. Do you want to be restricted and stuck there? Doesn't matter what your ego wants, your soul won't allow for it. And therefore we have losses, okay? Now the beautiful thing is there's a really cool mathematical relationship between Saturn and Venus. There's a beautiful relationship between Saturn and Venus, which is the committable love planet. Okay? It feels good, it helps both of us. That's the love we're all seeking. No one seeks hard love. No one goes, I'm going out to seek hard love. I might see it in my horoscope and say, all right, I'll go for it. But I'm not like looking for my horoscope for the next hard love of my life, you know. No sane person would do that. We're all looking for that committable, sustainable Venus love. And Saturn, when it ends, it's always reborn as Venus at first. There's always that opportunity there. It might not be that way, but we're going to approach every relationship from that point of view. Your hard love relationships, you're approaching from that point of view. Okay? Even charitable relationships, you approach from that point of view. You go, wow, this person seems really cool. But they have nothing to give me. I wish they did, but I have something to give them. And me giving that to them is useful to them, and it feels good as charity. But I only notice that person as a potential for committable, sustainable love. So that somehow they can give me something back, somehow, something. But the minute we say it's not, we just shift into charitable mode. We're always looking for only one love, pursuing one love, and that's the Venus love, the committable love. And that doesn't mean sex love or girl-boy love. It means a relationship that's giving back and forth and feels good. Because those are the ones we can keep. And we all want relationships we can keep. The longer the better, okay? But ultimately all relationships end when there's no more usefulness. And then we leave them, okay? Or they leave us. But there's always going to be a future opportunity. Okay, there's always a future opportunity. So I get a charitable love with that guy. Years later, there's a charitable opportunity for him. And he gave me all this money for a reading. And when that happened, I said, gosh, I hope he wants another reading. I need more money. He didn't. But I wanted that to be a committable love, you know. But for him, he didn't need that, so I didn't have to experience that. I got to experience a charitable love from another person, okay? But we're always looking for that win-win love, because that's the ones that provide the most, because they can last forever. Not forever, but they can last the longest, okay? So, every time we love them and leave them, we're simply saying, right now, there's no more that's useful. But certainly in the future, there will be an opportunity for usefulness. It might happen in a week. It might happen the next day. It might happen in 20 years. It might happen next lifetime. But it's always going to happen. People are to say, oh, I'm sure I knew this person in my last life. Duh. The astrologer said we knew each other in our last life. Oh, what a hard prediction to make. Duh. I love when people get excited about that. As in, I'm sarcastically using love here, dirty word. So, recognize that when we let go, when we step back, we realize there's nothing useful. The only act of love, the only useful thing we can do is say bye. Okay? And that in saying bye, it gives the people the opportunity to grow, to develop, to change, to have different needs, to have different ways they are useful. And through that, when they come together next time, there's a possibility of a whole new kind of love. And when they meet next time, the kind of love they're going to try to have is a committable, sustainable, two-way street love. And there's a good chance it won't be that love. It'll be another kind, and they'll have that until it's no longer useful. And we go through this over and over and over and over again with everyone we ever meet. Okay? The person who gave you the sustainable, committable love last time, now they're useful as the person who chops you up into little bits and lets you rebuild yourself. Okay? If that's how they're going to be useful, that's the love you're going to get from them. So, recognize that every time you say goodbye to someone who's no longer useful, how do you know they're no longer useful? Because they're gone. You might say, oh, I know they're still useful to me. Don't screw with the universe. When the universe says someone's gone, the universe knows more than you. Okay? Accept it. Recognize the gift that there's something else in the world that's going to be useful to you, and it's coming your way. Okay? And take your time to mourn it, because it is a loss. A loss of something that was really important. Okay? And recognize that you'll have another opportunity for love with that thing, with that person, when you're both different. At least a little different. Don't have to have different bodies. You could be in the same bodies. The next day you can be different. But never be scared to say, I don't see anything useful happening here, so I'm not going to engage. I'm going to leave now. A healthy relationship will do that. People will get all emotional, start angry and fighting. In the healthy situation, they say, look, nothing useful is happening right now. So I'm leaving for about a week. And you walk out the door. And a week later you come back and you can see if there's something useful. Okay? So recognize that we're going through cycles with all of our relationships of it's no longer useful, and then we wait for the opportunity for it to be useful. And that opportunity is not up to us. It is up to life. That's up to needs that we don't even understand. We just have to wait and see. When I encounter you next time, I'll certainly be looking to see what's useful there. Why do you think we meet people sometimes? We just see them, we're like, I have to talk to that dude, I have to talk to that girl, you know? I talked to that 5-year-old, really? I just got to go meet that 5-year-old, you know? We just feel this need to connect with someone. Because we have this desire to see if that person's useful and we can be useful to them, if there's love with that person. And we don't even know what kind it is. Why do sometimes we have such a strong pull to a person for that? Because that person had an impact in our last life. And we're trying to discover where the cycle has come around to. Where's the usefulness in this lifetime? As biological creatures, as mammals, with the biological urge to procreate, we always assume it's one thing and one thing only. But if we can be a little more creative with that, and just be open to discovering what the usefulness is, okay? With that person that we have to talk to, okay? And it could be with a man or a woman. You could be male, it could be male, it could be female, it could be female. It'd just be this, I gotta go connect with this person feeling. It's important to follow up on those and see what's the usefulness with this person. I know for once I was just got a job as a salesman, and I was just like a shitty salesman, and I had to go get another handout because my car broke down. So I was at the Western Union, you know, and picking up some cash, and all trying to hold back tears on the way there because I felt so ashamed that I had to borrow money. And there's this handsome black dude. You know, he had a nice suit, he was tall, he was straight, and I just kept looking at him. I was like looking at him going, dude, you haven't had a girlfriend yet, are you sure? Because that was one handsome dude, you know. And I just kept looking at me, and then he started looking at me, and then he would look at me. And so after we got done at our transaction counters, we just came up to each other and said, hi, I'm so-and-so. We just met. And we talked. Turns out he was like an A salesman. So he invited me over to see his demonstration, and to see my demonstration of what I was selling. And you know, he gave me some tips and he told me some things. He was very useful to me. He was also charitable, gave me charitable love, and actually bought something even though he really didn't need it. You know, he didn't have a lot of abundance, but he bought the least expensive thing I had. Okay, and so that made me feel better, like I did a better job, and it was really useful. And then during the end of presentation, he let me know he was gay, and if I ever wanted to like spend some more time together. And I was like, you're not handsome to me anymore. At that point, before that, you know, once we got done, he got done being useful to me and like teaching me a few tips that I needed to know. It was just like a dude. He wasn't like this dark, mysterious, beautiful black man that I had to go talk to, you know. So even in little things, sometimes it's just a beautiful thing. Why is this person useful? And then you just, you know, I had someone pick something up on Craigslist. I just liked the guy. And I'm like, all right, yeah, come see my house. Because everyone that see my house is like, whoa. I'm like, you want to come get a tour? I wanted to connect with this guy a little more. And, you know, he comes up and he tells me about some heating technology I didn't know about that I am going to need in my house to finish a job. And I was like, oh, that's nice, thank you. And so it's always great to just see how we're always looking for useful love. We have a nose for it, okay? And we can develop that nose. We also have a nose for trouble, which means we have the nose to seek what's going to hurt us because we think it's love, but it's not. So remember, the golden question is this useful? If it's not useful, it's not love, okay? So Saturn love is, have reverence with that. There's no endings in this universe. There's only cycles. With every soul you meet, you'll have a cycle. With different careers, you'll have cycles, you know? I'm an astrologer this lifetime. I was an astrologer supposedly in, Mayan. I was a Mayan astrologer at one point. I was a Viking king. So it's like, wait a minute. So I went from Mayan astrologer to Viking king to astrologer? To French baker? Really? French baker? Well, that explains the desire for sweets. So we jump through different lifetimes with different experiences, but we come back to them, you know? We come back to those experiences. We come back as a healer again. We come back as a warrior again, according to our developmental needs. Okay? So even with the things we love that are useful for us in this lifetime, there's a point where they're not useful for us in this lifetime, and then we quit them. And then later on, maybe they become useful to our lifetime down the road, or maybe in another lifetime. We have never-ending relationships with everything, with the essence of everything. And we have never-ending relationships with every soul. You know? And so, when we love them and leave them, when Shri Yukteswar kicked that boy out of the ashram, they're going to meet again. And then they'll see what love is there. And as long as there's love there, they won't leave. But when the usefulness is over, the only useful thing to do is to part. And we can do this with love and understanding. It can be a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's not about you're a horrible creature anymore, I can't stand you. It's about, I'm not helping you anymore, you're not helping me anymore. So let's just go get help where we can find it. Let's go find what's going to be useful to us. And maybe next time we meet, we'll do that. I had a beautiful, beautiful parting with one of my girlfriends, and she was a wonderful, wonderful person. Really a great quality girl, you know. But I was very intellectual. She didn't really like to get into intellectual things, and she was on the same path. I liked to meditate more than she did, but she just wasn't like intellectual, and that wasn't the hugest problem. But she just thought like astrology was not this really good thing to do, and here I am, all about astrology, thinking astrology every waking moment, and it got to where, as wonderful as a person she was, and I really, really tried to stay in a relationship with her, I couldn't do it because as an astrologer, it wasn't useful to me to have her as a partner. To my development as well, it wasn't useful. And so we had to part, and we had this conversation, and we were like, you know, we're like, should we be friends? We're like, no, we can't be friends. We're like, you know, it's like, we know we can't spend time with each other with wanting to be close. I'm like, because we just get along so well. It's so easy to be with you. We just get along so well. But I knew I couldn't stay there. You know, I knew that's not what I needed. It wasn't love for me anymore. And so we just parted with this understanding that we were never going to reach out to each other. We were never going to try to find the other person. You know, it was like this beautiful, love them and leave them. But when we see each other next time, we'll be ready to see each other. We'll be happy to see each other. And when that moment happens, we'll be so happy it happens. It was like a beautiful experience of love them and leave them. That was a long time ago. How many years? That was like over 25 years ago. And I haven't bumped into her yet. And I have to wonder if I'll bump into her again this lifetime, or it will be another time. And it's a beautiful, beautiful love to have a true love and leave a moment. Okay? It's no less beautiful than any of these other types of loves. If we understand it and we live it. I lived that accidentally. I didn't plan, oh, I'm going to have a love it and leave her moment with her. Didn't know that concept. But it was a gift of love. And so, with full acceptance of each of us is having to go where we have to go, to the point where we're not even going to look for the other person and make sure they're okay. We're just going to maybe hear a bit here, a bit there, and maybe one day bump into each other. Because with this love them and leave them, we have to let go that much. It is a total, I will not look for you, I will not come finding you, I will not stalk you. You know, it has to be a complete leave. Leave completely, get completely out of their way. And let the person go get what they need. And if they need you, they'll be back. And when they're coming back, you're going to want a committable, sustainable relationship of some type with them. It doesn't have to be a love relationship, but some kind of committable, sustainable love. And if it's not that kind, you'll find another kind. And you'll have it for as long as it lasts, and then you'll love them and leave them again. And that's how it works. And to want it to work differently isn't going to change anything. Okay, the planets don't lie. The planets give us all these flavors of love that we can enjoy. Okay? And so I hope everyone can really savor every loving experience as what it really is, and not confuse it with something else. Not let your pains obstruct the beauty of the love you're having, and ruin the love them and leave them moment because you feel rejected and worthwhile because you have a rejected and self-worth issues. Get the baggage out of the way. Every moment is love, and if you're not making it a loving moment, because you've got baggage that you need to work on. So that's good to know. If you can't make a moment a loving moment, you have baggage to work on. Let's find the baggage, let's clear the baggage out, and have more loving moments. And the way we do that is really through connecting to the divine, through your spiritual practices, and digging deep into your psychology simultaneously. My favorite way of doing that is with Rahu and Ketu and the Lajitati Avashta. That's why I have a huge Rahu and Ketu course on my astrology site and 2 huge Lajitati Avashta classes on my site, because those things will just psychologically overhaul you. You will cry during those classes. You will cry buckets of tears, okay? And you'll change your life if you watch them. Those were people who are into astrology. For others, find people who know those techniques and who can counsel you based on your chart. Sadly, I'm just one man, and I only have so much time. So please find somebody else most of the time, because I'm trying to cover a lot of ground with videos. So realize if you're not able to find a moment as a loving experience, it's just simply you have some work to do, and that's okay. We're here to learn to have more loving experiences. We're not a failure if we have unloving experiences. Okay? There's no failure, there's only success. And it just means that's a signal that you have to learn something about yourself so you can have more loving experiences. Okay? We have a lot more to do in this course. We're just getting the foundation done. Now we know how everything that can happen has love in it. And again, I've been talking about people a lot because that's where we get hurt most, but with everything, with the job. There's a point the job is no longer useful. Time to leave that job. If it'll be useful to you again, you'll get that job back. This lifetime or the next lifetime. It's time to leave this hobby, to leave this thing you love doing. Well, maybe there's time to come back. Like I left rock climbing after I fell off. Rock climbing was no longer useful to me. We accidentally watched some Olympic rock climbing, and now the whole family's like, yeah, let's go do that. Now it's useful. It's useful to me to get out and goof off on the boulders in our backyard, in the forest behind my house. It's useful again. So it's an act of love again, instead of an act of fear, which it was after falling 120 feet off a cliff. So recognize that these principles I'm talking about apply to everything in our life. Oh, I don't feel like working on my house anymore. It's not useful for anymore. So you just ignore it until it's useful for you to work on your house again. And with all things, be willing to let go, change, let go permanently, let go semi-permanently, according to what is an experience of love, in accordance with what is an experience of usefulness. Okay? Next, we're going to talk about material, emotional, and spiritual realms, because we can have love, and we need love in all 3 of these areas. If we don't have love in all 3 of these, we're experiencing a very limited love. So ultimately, we want to grow to be able to have it in all 3. And I will start talking about those 3 in the next 3 videos. Thank you.